Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for watching, coming back, tuning in, whatever you call it, but thank you, I appreciate it. In this video, I'm going to talk about I think a filter that pretty much nobody uses, it seems like I never hear anybody talk about it, and I mean anybody, not just Luminar. Like, this is a filter that you can get in other products, it's in a number of other products. And I've been playing around with it, and once you sort of get your arms around it and start to really understand how to work it, it can be really powerful and useful. And that filter is Bi-ColorToning. And I did that recent video on split toning, which I absolutely adore, but they're very different. And I think my suspicion is, and I don't know because I haven't asked people, but if my suspicion is that people will get the Bi-ColorToning filter and then they'll put it on the photo and they'll be like, yeah, what the hell was that? And it looks terrible unless you kind of know what you're doing. And I think the presets don't really lend itself or don't lend any air of sort of credibility to the filter. Like, you use the presets and you're kind of scared. So I think people just delete it and say, forget that, and move on. So let me just jump into this photo. Here we go. Now, this is just an example. I'm going to actually show you a couple of photos I used it on and how it worked. But in this case, I have this photo, and all I did is add the tone filter, so it was kind of dark, and I added smart tone just to brighten it up, just so you can see it better. It's not an edited photo, right? So let me go get add filter and get Bi-ColorToning, which is in the very bottom. And here's what I'm talking about. Now, there's some very basic controls. It's actually a very simple filter to use. There's the amount slider, there's a preset section, and then there's the top and the bottom color and the orientation. So orientation, you click on that and you can just move this around to set the orientation. You can expand it. So this is just like it's a gradient is what it is. It's just like a gradient filter. And so that's how you do that. Now the thing is, here's what I suspect people do is they come in and it defaults to whatever preset that is, where the top color is kind of purple and the bottom color is kind of this goldish color. And I think people do this, they go, hey, let me see what that looks like. And then they go, that's kind of gross. So they go, well, I don't really like that. Let me try a different preset. So they crack into these preset menus and let me try brown. Ugly, not gonna work. Let's try some of this cool warm. Puke, right? Don't want to do that. Let's go into green brown. Barfarama, right? Moss. Not gonna do it for me. And let's get into and there's 3 in each. I'm just hitting the top one. And violet pink. Too much. So I think people just do that and then they delete and they're like, screw that filter. I'm not gonna use it. It's horrible. But the truth is, it's not horrible. It's actually really powerful and super cool. Let me jump into 2 different photos I used it on and show you how I used it there. Okay, so I have this photo from London, shot at blue hour. It's like a 4-second exposure, so you can see the people kind of blurring out. Tower London on the left, Tower Bridge kind of down there. Anyway, I took it from that to that, and a big component of the color change was the Bi-ColorToning. So let me jump into that and show you what I did. As you can also see, I did add the sun rays filter into the lamppost. You may or may not like it. It's kind of kitschy, I guess. I don't know. I kind of like it, but it's easy to turn off. So I did a few things in the develop filter. I added a vignette and sun rays, but the key thing here is the Bi-ColorToning. Let me show you the before. That's before Bi-ColorToning and after. You can see the colors are richer. Now, here's what we talked about on the previous photo, and that is you have presets, which I did not use. I customized it, and then you have top and bottom color and orientation. I left the orientation right in the middle simply because that's basically how the frame is divided. To me, it's basically sky above and earth below, if you will. So I just left the orientation the way it is. But as I showed you earlier, you can move that. You can also twist it left and right. Here's where the power of Bi-ColorToning comes in, and that is if you want to alter the colors, you just click on this color box and you just see this handy little color wheel pops up. Now all you got to do is you just drag this this little bullseye thing around and it'll pick a different color. So if you look at the sky, because I'm in the top, you can see I'm changing colors, right? So as I move this around, different colors are being displayed in the sky, or actually I should say in the top half of the photo, because you remember the set orientation slider is basically set in the middle. So if you go in the middle, it's pretty neutral, but I was kind of here in the blue, and that's how you choose a color. And so I was looking for, how do I make the sky a little bit more blue, but I want to warm up the bottom. And this is not a split toning thing, because split toning is highlights and shadows, and so that's different. This is top and bottom. Same idea, pick a color for a section and adjust it, but the implementation of it is different. Split toning is highlights and shadows, and bicolor toning is top and bottom. So it basically divides a photo into zones. Now, the other thing to be aware of is this little slider here, and this is basically the brightness slider for the color you've chosen. So if I go this way, if you look at the top of the photo, it gets darker, and correspondingly, is that a word? Whatever, the color circle is also getting darker, indicating that you're getting in the darker spectrum. And then you go far to the left to be as bright as possible. I think I was a little bit like that. So that's how you do that. And once you're done, you can just click close. And then I did the same thing for the bottom. Now, the bottom, I wanted to choose a little bit warmer color, so I did a similar kind of brightness. So over here, look at the bottom of the photo getting darker, right? And now the bottom of the photo getting brighter. I wanted to bring up kind of a little bit of orange, kind of earthy tone. Two reasons. Number one, let me move this. Number one is that to me is the color of that kind of stone. But number two is because this lamppost is here and it was on, and I added an extra, oomph to it using the sun rays filter, I wanted to create more of that warm glow on the sidewalk, and so it wasn't really looking that way. And in fact, this is another feature I can show you. You can, with the checkbox here, you can turn on or off the top and bottom colors. So there's before the top with the bottom still on, and there's with the top turned on. Let me turn off the bottom now. You can see it was picking up a lot of blue. And I've edited photos from here where I bring up the blues because, I just like to edit photos. And admittedly, I love blue. It's probably my favorite color sort of spectrum, at least as it relates to photography. But the bottom color, I wanted some warmth, partly because of what I did to the lamppost there. So you can see it made a big difference in the photo. Let me go back to this. So I was just sliding around here, and you can go darker if you want, or you can go more, to the brightness. I wanted some brightness, but not too much. And then that's really how it works. I then added the vignette and the sun rays just for fun. I'll turn off the sun rays. I know some people are kind of like, oh, it's overdone. And that's okay. You don't have to like it. It's kind of for fun anyway. There it is without the sun rays. I still, even without it, wanted that warmer tone in the bottom. And bicolor filter or bicolor toning, I think, is the best way to do that. The vignette, as you can see, added quite a bit of darkness. In fact, let me turn off the sun rays. That's the photo without a vignette, and I've been using vignettes a lot. I'm trying to, I don't know, it creates more mood for me, and I like it that way. So I'm going to turn those back on. I primarily wanted to show you color toning. So again, before, no color toning, very blue, and now after, bluer sky, but it's got the warmer bottom. And so I believe there's glass filters you can buy that are kind of split like that based on the kind of color tones, but that's photo one. Let me show you one more example. Okay, here's the next example, and I think landscapes and cityscape, actually landscapes, and this is a seascape, I guess technically, shot in Oregon, but we'll call it a landscape. But landscapes, I think, are primarily where people would use bicolor toning. As you can see in my last photo from London, it works totally fine in cityscapes as well. But here's a landscape or seascape to show it as an example. Now this photo has been edited with the develop filter, and I'll also show you in the crop tool. I did crop it quite a bit. I went with the 16:9 crop, and so that's what that looks like. But basically what I wanted to do is, there's too much sky. I love the warmth of the sun coming in and the golden glow of the light coming across the sand and of course across the grass there. And this was shot at f11, so not a super tight aperture, but enough to get that sunburst, because you can see I don't have this sun rays filter on this photo, so hey, those are real. And this was a photo that I edited actually a while ago, just using the develop filter. I did a video a long time ago about the power of the raw develop filter or something, and I was going to use this as an example because I felt like I came a long way. I mean, if you look at the photo before and after, I think it really came to life. But when I started playing around with bicolor toning, I was like, it's gonna be great for, I think, sunsets and landscapes, and that's both in this photo. And so I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go get a beach photo or a landscape. And I've been on more beaches than I have having, I haven't traveled to a lot of amazing landscapes, a few, but I've been on the Oregon coast quite a few times. And so anyway, I have this photo. Let me just shut up and get onto it. And then I looked at it and I was like, I like it, but I really want to experiment with bicolor toning here. So I went and, again, experimented with the colors, and I was able to do that. And to me, I was just like, wow. I mean, that just really just like got my attention. And that's why I was so excited about this filter because, you know, again, I didn't use a preset. The amount, I went to 60, so fairly heavy, but I just went in. The top color, I picked a bluish kind of, you know, a little bit of pinkish purple. Some of that is coming up by the tint, however. Not pinkish purple, bluish kind of color. And then I brought up the pink and purple with the tint over here in the develop filter. And, you know, I just made it the brightness I wanted. I don't want to go too dark and I don't want to go too bright, right? It kind of looked a little weird that way, but I thought it looked great there. And then again, just coming over here for the bottom color, this was one where I just slid it around, and that's the beauty of this. You can just slide this thing around until you figure out what looks good or, you know, terrible in the case of the green. Pink, purple looks pretty bad, but you slide it around like that. You get over here in these orangey warm tones, and then, you know, I want a little bit darker here, so instead of being kind of bright, which actually looks kind of good, that sunlight coming in there looks pretty good, but I want a little bit darker. Anyway, just experiment with it. Use that slider for the brightness, and then move the color wheel around. You know, grab that little bullseye point or whatever it is, move it around and find the color that you like. But as you can see, bi-color toning. Before, you know, I think the photo looks okay. I like the scene, and, you know, my edit was okay. I could have done more with other filters, but I didn't mess with it. But when I added bi-color toning, I was just like, you know what, boom. I mean, that's exactly what I want it to look like. And so that is the power of bi-color toning, my friends. Super easy to use, even though, you know, when you look at these presets like I talked about, you get some of these weird colors and you're like, you know, and I think it turns people off simply because they haven't got in and clicked in these boxes, moved the colors around and changed the brightness. But try it. It's super easy to use. Experiment on some photos, especially when you have kind of an even horizon. Now it can be tilted because, you know, as you know, you can move the set orientation. And in fact, I actually might move it up a little bit. That would probably be better on this photo. And if you want to change the gradient zone, you can, as I already said to you. But you can also rotate, right? So if you want to get more blue in that grass or more blue over there like that or whatever, I'm going to leave it pretty flat. But the point is, you can make those adjustments, get a lot of customization, and I think the results speak for themselves. So there's the before, there's the after. A lot of that is from bi-color toning, which went from that, nice sunset to, I think, more of a wow sunset. That's how it works, my friends. Hope you enjoyed bi-color toning. Get in there, experiment, try some things, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it, and have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Have a great day. What else do I say? Oh, have a great day and adios.